ended as it began. In fun.
Farewell.
Perfect тайминг. Да не, какой проиграть-то? 4 против 4. Чё? Геб куда-то летит? Это история любимых кастеров, что? Каждый час
Hello and welcome to the Witch of the Woods update show. I'm Titan Isaiah, your host for today, and our show is just packed with awesome stuff for you all. We've got balance, ton of awesome skins, and the reveal of our newest goddess, Baba-Yaga. We're super excited, so if we seem a bit more animated than usual, that's why. We're going to go ahead and kick things off with bonus balance, and here to break things down with me are Ajax and Pond from the design team. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, good to see you.
Yep, doing pretty well.
Awesome. So let's get right into bonus balance that's going to be live next week on April 7th. No items this go around, so we're going to start off with gods, and Camazotz is up first. Screech is going to be seeing a decrease in the physical power buff from Echo.
So what bonus balance is, since there was a little bit of confusion and people wondering what qualifies as bonus balance, what doesn't, we're trying to pivot it towards being specifically those meta god nerfs, the things that we feel like people.
Мы раньше получали с первого левела эхо сразу же 20 сил, теперь будем 10. И в конце, ну то есть на 10 меньше на каждом уровне.
For this patch, we're going to be doing only meta god nerfs as the bonus balance. And we're also
в чем смысл баф потом нерфить, не знаю.
To better clarify and better show and display what types of balance is going to be launching at what days, and I really appreciate you for that. But from the design team, we wanted to approach it well as well, in a little more.
Пока они там трендят и обсуждают, я поем.
And that's why it is specifically only top played, top picked gods being nerfed.
For sure.
So Camazotz, we saw him get buffed a little while back. We buffed the leap range as well as some other effects, and we've already reverted those other effects, and he's still like an absolute powerhouse in specifically high
очень крутой на высоких рангах и в про-играх очень крутой Camazotz.
To make up for how much power that leap range really did. That really had huge effects on Pawn.
Yeah, that definitely does. That changes like the scaling on his 2, it changes the scaling on his heal. Like that's a big deal that's going to be changing. There's just a lot that this power like augments that is going to just take the edge off of him in the laning phase. Take the edge off when you're trying to box him in the solo lane.
Next up, we've got Kukulkan, a guy that's been kind of resilient to the nerfs that we've kind of been giving him over the past couple patches. We're going to be making some adjustments to slipstream. We're also decreasing the slow immunity period.
Yeah, Slipstream is one of those abilities that I think for a really long time people were like, oh, it's just a movement ability, but the amount of distance it lets Cuckoo cover, the amount of speed he immediately
gets, 0,6 секунды у него всего иммунитет к замедлению вместо 1 секунды. Зачем его дальше нерфить, не знаю.
And slip right through team fights. So we're just increasing the cooldown on that so players have more opportunities to play around it, especially in the late game. And the slow immunity is being reduced so that you actually can jump on him more quickly with slows and actually slow him down some.
We know some people out there are getting a little fatigued with Kukulkan nerfs. We really did buff him a very large amount through those changes a few months ago, so we're still working to get him back to a good point of balance. Seems like the god's still performing way better than he has historically. He's been pretty resilient to the nerfs, but it is starting to make a statistical impact. Last round of changes did make a pretty good statistical impact. Hopefully this will be the last one we have to touch on him for a little while.
Ребят, это из-за коронавируса очень большая нагрузка на сервера. Я думаю, что они будут... Но это не так быстро решается, Bright Life. Они не смогут это быстро. До сифона.
actually a buff.
Слишком быстро стали у нее бегать.
We're going to reduce the projectile speed on her ultimate ability.
Yeah, so Persephone in that shift, we saw players essentially be able to use the plants more effectively. That was like the big change, and we did a few nerfs to also tone down some of the damage it did, as well as the damage of the ultimate. After seeing all the numbers and seeing how people are playing with it, it does look like she got a little bit better overall, which is what we were going for. That's what we wanted for the shift, where she was a bit more manageable for players. The kind of complexity and clunkiness of placing plants and utilizing them.
Не, это не КД, Paragon. Это скорость движения и выстрела. Именно пули вот этой самой. Она была слишком быстро двигалась, теперь меньше.
If it flies past you, you can get away from the wall that it might collide with a bit.
Ну и правильно делают коммутацию. Это очень хорошая работа над балансом.
Really, we just want to make it clear, we are open to nerfing Persephone. We know that her statistics are on the lower end, but we know that's also because she's difficult. She's incredibly strong at high MMR and at pro play. We're really trying to make sure we balance her for all skill levels. So we're open to nerfing her. I think this is going to be a pretty impactful nerf, especially at those high skill levels.
Awesome. All right, and then last up on the list for gods in bonus balance is Yamoja. Yamoja is going to be seeing a nerf to Bouncing Bubble. We're decreasing the magical power scaling, and we are adjusting the
меньшая сила получает ее Bubble.
Moonstrike, we're decreasing the magical power scaling on the inner damage. And Mending Waters, we are decreasing the magical power scaling on the heal and decreasing the magical power scaling on the shield.
Yeah, so a lot of kind of like bruisery nerfs, but
также от силы у нее все меньше, она получает силы,
just in general,
восстановление здоровья вашего и щита.
The ability for her to throw out a lot of the healing and shielding from Mending Waters. Even though she doesn't necessarily build that much power even in the support role, she is getting it from her boots in a lot of cases. She often builds at least one bruiser item. And so this is going to just reduce that time when you're like, if she lands a good stun lock on you, or if she gets a whole bunch of healing out in the team fight, it's just going to
понял, что оглушение у нее тоже понерфили, но я, к сожалению, не успел.
Yeah, so a lot of...
Сейчас я хочу посмотреть
быстренько.
Ага. Длительность стана также у нее теперь почти 1,5 секунды на каждом уровне, 1,4 вместо 2 секунд на 2 секунды. Нет, подождите, нет, фу, блин, я дурачок, это замедление, ё-моё. Фу, слава богу, я испугался, что это стан. 2 секунды, такой думаю, чё? Не, это замедление. Длительность замедления теперь. Эмоджи сейчас прям топ-бан. Она очень жесткая. Я говорю, что она сломанная. О, Собек круто очень смотрится.
Love this. Shoutouts to
7 апреля уже будет доступен.
This concept.
That's so cool.
Floating around in the community for a long time, so we're super excited. We love working with Wolfdog and just the details and stuff that they are
providing this concept.
That's so cool.
На всякий случай от них отстанем чуть-чуть, это подлагивает.
Around in the community for a long time, so we're super excited. We love working with Wolfdog.
У него топор клёвый.
Супер
авесоме, да.
He's really looking really creepy.
Also not pictured here.
Спамить надо на их трансляцию на Twitch
канал. So we're moving right along to the second skin from Chapter 1 of Grim Omens that we're going to be looking at today, and that's going to be the Goat Kernan.
Oh my gosh!
And he is stylish.
Does he actually throw it as a basic attack?
Yes. It's finally a Frisbee skin. I don't know if the Smite universe knows this, but I've been playing Ultimate Frisbee for 10, 15 years. I started the Ultimate Frisbee game at Hi-Res Studios, where we have 10 to 20 developers.
Не знаю, я не люблю такие скины. Может, кому-то зайдет, а мне такие скины не очень нравятся. Не, ну прикольно, то, что есть. Зверополис, да.
Yeah, there's so many like little background bits in the card art.
I do see Anubis. And this Kernanos is assuming a little bit more of a hipster vibe.
Сюда, вот сюда сейчас. Покажу куда. Вот здесь это надо спамить. Здесь, вот на этом канале. Да, ребят. Тогда всем прилетит топоров, если вот все хоть разочек на этом канале напишут, вот так вот возьмут. Вот. Все.
We want to remind you guys about MedTech Aphrodite, the chapter reward for Chapter 1. If you unlock all 6 skins in the Chapter 1 chest, you get this skin for free.
Yeah, also to be noted, if you did the buy all,
там все перечь, там, конечно. Они ее прорасхостили даже не все. Ну вот это круто. 7 апреля Афродита будет доступна. Афродита очень клевая. Вот это очень крутой скин. Это Grim Omen, первая глава.
Oh my gosh, he looks so good.
This one's amazing. The model is like
QIWI, спасибо за follow.
They're both amazing, of course, but just the
model 7 апреля будет доступна.
It fits Susanoo so well. He's like the bold, daring adventurer, and it gives him such a unique take.
Мне почему-то Fable напоминает. Играли в Fable?
Did he just win a bar fight?
Yeah, I know, right? His outfit is like super fire. I wanna play the game that he is the main character of.
Right. It does look like he did just in this card art. He just won the bar fight. There's the people behind him that are like, "Oof, shouldn't have fought that guy."
Yeah, he's got some coin for it.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I'll buy you a drink."
Exactly. Yeah, just buy you a drink with the money I just stole from you. So this one's gonna be available April 7th in the Sword Hero chest. And we've got one more skin that we want to talk about that's heading your way next week, and that is Pharaoh's Curse Kabrakan.
Oh yeah, big community win here. Shoutouts to Rob Draws for the concept. Players really showed up and upvoted this skin into the stratosphere. And, you know,
Kabrakanчик-то
can be a little tricky to execute, but Bracken with his giant shields turning into a sarcophagus just made a really strong connection for the Egyptian crossover.
По-моему, не очень похож на Камаэля.
My favorite
Там все-таки белые волосы, флай-флай, и крылья. Это скорее скин на барона, какой вампирский, больше похож на Камаэля.
Yeah, I love when we get to kind of reimagine like characters that have been in the Smite universe for a long time into a different pantheon.
And it looks like this is going to be in the crossover chest. Well named, that's for sure.
Definitely. Kind of a hint back to the Egyptian mythology, available in the crossover chest coming your way on April 7th. So that wraps it up for all the skins coming out in the
по-любому будет гомотаться, но не сразу он будет.
As we're calling it now. But we've got some community and esports news that we want to talk about too. If you guys missed it, I'm not sure how you missed it, but we had a birthday last week and we are still partying.
Они все еще отмечают день рождения, об этом говорят, что каждый день бесплатная награда.
Community-created avatars and jump stamps. All you have to do is log in and play a game and you get those rewards for free. Every day there's a different reward, but if you miss a day, then you miss the reward.
Да, и у нас, кстати, в честь дня рождения Смайта, да, мы тоже участвовали там.
And then the last thing we have up for you guys is the SPL start date. Got announced a couple weekends ago, as you guys know. We had
такой вот розыгрыш.
A little bit just due to the concerns.
Тут X2 скина Мороз по коже на скаде и боевой пропуск Ситановца. Вдруг у кого-то еще нет.
But SPL is now kicking off on
На всякий случай напоминаю. А что ж ты так лагаешь? Видимо, много народ действительно смотрит. 3000 на ютубе.
And if you want to check out the schedule, you can head over to our new fancy Smite Pro League website. I know it's been a long time coming.
Новый сайт Pro League будет.
Super awesome. Over to smiteproleague.com for all of your SPL info.
I cannot wait. Finally.
I know, right? I've been fiending for some esports, and the SEC and SOC have been holding me over for a little bit, but there's nothing like the SPL, so we're super excited.
Those have been really fun to watch, honestly. Yep. I'm really enjoying them. And the vote.
Почему они все однорукие? Так было быстрее нарисовать, Мелюзин.
See how people are voting. You can kind of see who the favorites are. Maybe we'll have some upsets. You know, kick off
Вторая рука просто за спиной.
Know who's going to have the meta figured out. Like, it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm pumped to see how things pan out in our first professional sets of the season. So that wraps it up for community and esports news. We've still got a whole lot of show left for you guys. We'll be right back after this break.
Эй, милашка, привет. А, ну мы это уже видели в Smite Pro группе.
Time for some fun. Am I starting to look handsome? Looking good.
Это можно в Smite Pro группе посмотреть. Так, пока ролик у них.
Look at the little girly man. Where are you going? Stick around. Your time has come. Just you and
Welcome back, everybody. Dream Deities headed your way soon on the Ouya. Make sure to check that out. You would be an absolute fool not to. I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely ready to uwu on the Ouya. So we're going to kick things off with the Witch of the Woods up with some Project Olympus updates. What do we got, AJ?
So the good things that everyone's going to really notice right now is that clans have been disabled. We're doing this to reduce a lot of stress on Smite's backend servers. There's a lot of processes that are running with notifying people when their clanmates are logging on. Taking all of that away temporarily is really helping with the high influx of players we're having. Everyone being, staying home. We're also going to be adjusting certain queue times, so you might see queues go up or down a minute or two. It's being done so that queues don't all fire at once. We adjusted this matchmaking to a timed queue system. This is done to improve matchmaking and to give players a little bit more consistency, but it does cause tons of matches to fire all at once, which is really tough on our servers, so we're adjusting that. There's a lot of other things we did. Isaiah wrote a really nice post about it on Reddit. People can go read more, right?
Yes, wrote up a post a couple days ago. It's still pinned on the front page of Reddit right there at the top. If you guys want more information on what we've done to kind of help ease strain on servers and plans that we have moving forward. Our ops team is continually monitoring things, and they're working around the things stable for you guys.
It's been a
Их команда работает над тем, чтобы сделать все стабильным.
Thank you for your patience through all that.
Спасибо вам за терпение, ребят.
Let's get moving right along to Project Olympus. With the launch of 7.4. We've got some improved anti-toxicity measures headed your way.
Yeah, I've been working with the design team a lot, specifically High Res Fish, and then Ponpon's been helping out as well. We really want to continue to improve Smite's behavior policies.
Они работают над токсичностью, чтобы поведение в Смайте было круче.
Увеличили hate speech or real life threats. First time offenders are going to be if you're confirmed by support, so this means you'll be manually reviewed by one of our support employees. They will be dishing out 7-day bans for the first offense and perma bans for
Ого, увеличили
those used to be a little too soft.
жесткость банов.
Первый
бан будет на 7 дней за hate speech или за...
Smite. It's that simple.
И будут банить просто пермачом
We're also doing some more tech improvements to make sure we can find players who are causing problems. We're improving the automated detection of players who AFK as well as intentional feeders. All of this is to help the support team make sure they can find the information they need when they're investigating an account. Some types of these gameplay things can be difficult to judge.
Будет теперь первый бан на 7 дней, второй перманентный сразу за угрозу в реальной жизни и токсичность.
Have the right data they need to find people.
For sure. All right, next up, esports and live streams. We're going to be adding some progress tracking and a notification for the weekly points reset.
Yeah, this is going to help you keep track of how close you are to earning your cap points for the week, and
вы видели, когда у вас
it's going to notify you when the points reset.
Когда у вас
сбросилось
количество поинтов, которые вы можете получать за просмотр трансляции на следующей неделе.
Videos and streamlining them for an entirely new set.
Yeah, this is a big one. We are doing this company-wide, and of course, we, funny enough, we were working through it on the Paladins team, working through it, and everyone on Smite was like, oh my gosh, we need that. Why don't we have that? And the answer is we're getting it really, really soon. We were right after them. No big deal, nothing to worry about. But yeah, all those videos, like you kind of saw on the Paladins team, I know that a lot have been discussing it out in the Smite community. All that stuff is coming to Smite. It's going to be coming in throughout the PTS time. So expect those videos to stream in a little one at a time as we upload them. Or, and it's getting, tricky working from home and uploading this update. Maybe some of the videos might not make it into the game right at first, but we're going to be updating all of those, the full suite of them. Just going to come in.
Yes, our video team has been putting in a ton of work on those. Last time I checked, I think it was around 30 new tutorial videos for Smite that are going to be super helpful.
Туторы добавят нам. Нам добавят для новичков новых туторов.
Last up for Project Olympus, we got a user interface update. We're going to be updating the lighting sections on the God screen, Order lobby, and Chaos lobby, just to kind of make things look a little bit more, make them pop a little bit better.
This is like, purely aesthetic, but I'm really excited for this. We have had some inconsistent lighting or some older types of lighting all throughout the client side. So everywhere in the main client UI, where you're browsing gods, you're picking and banning, etc. The lighting is very different from scene to scene and on god to god, and it makes for some confusing visuals, and makes for some visuals that don't look so good, or makes for ones that just don't look like what the character really looks like when you're playing the game. So we've changed the lighting on all of those, really makes the 3D models look so much better in the UI. I'm really excited about this one.
Изменили качество света в UI, в интерфейсе, и будет теперь красивее все смотреться.
Of course, all the changes and shifts we did in Season 7 for putting a cap on percent pen and caring more about it, now you'll be able to see how much percent pen you have and how close you are to the cap.
Прикольно сделать, согласен, Куш.
Most definitely. All right, that wraps it up for Project Olympus. Now let's get into the balance changes that are heading your way.
Балансы, которые не 7 апреля, а прям в следующем
We're going to kick things off with some game mode changes. And the first change is actually for all modes. Jungle camp timers are now going to appear on the minimap for all camps at the start of the match.
This is a huge quality of life change. This is really nice. You can tell really clearly which buffs are going to spawn at what time as soon as you load into a map on any.
На мини-картах во всех модах теперь будет показан маленький таймер.
A little slightly different timing at the beginning of the game, as well as Joust, like with keeping track of the red buff spawn. I'm so stoked about this feature. It is really nice.
Yeah, especially on Joust, that red buff, I get lost there all the time. Where I'm like, oh, we're going for wave fight, and then I see the enemy team rotate over there. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to be late. So seeing that's going to be great.
Yeah, now you can track it really well.
Yes, this would be a huge quality of life change for the start of the match. I'm super excited to hop in the games and check it out. Next up for game modes, we've got Conquest, and we've got a big change here.
Большие изменения в завоевании.
Ajax, I'm going to let you take the reins on this one.
So this is interesting. You know, we're talking about this before we've seen any pro play, but we've been in a lot of discussions with a lot of pro players, and we have been clearly made to understand that invading is still a very strong strategy, especially invading where your support is just harassing and trying to slow down the jungler. So we made a few changes in the beginning of this season to try to address invading, and our goal is to not overdo it at first, right? We wanted to do some smaller changes, give players ways to defend themselves through hog and awards, make sure that they have ways to counter the invade before we just go and do something extreme. So those changes were maybe a little too subtle, because now we are seeing that it's still happening, and we want to make sure that we prevent it. We are adding a new feature to the Conquest map called the Invader's Curse that is a refreshing debuff area near the speed buff and back harpies camp. And if you enter that area as an enemy god, so if you cross the map and enter it, if you enter your own side of the map, you're fine. But if you cross the enemy's side into that area, you'll see some visual effects there, and you will be debuffed with 30% reduced healing. That'll include potions, even at the beginning of the game. 30% reduced movement speed and 30% reduced attack speed. So this is a pretty heavy-handed change that we really want to stop this type of invading. Now, we hear that there's other invades happening, sometimes blue buffs, 2v2 fights, and sometimes purple buffs, and those invades are actually causing some really interesting fights, where certain players are actually fighting or dying or getting first blooded or stealing a camp or whatever. That's pretty interesting. We're more open to that being part of the map, but the part where support is literally just harassing a jungler and throwing away their own game progression just to slow down another class, we find that is where we draw the line. So we're willing to make a pretty intense change here, and this is what we have decided to do.
Yeah, this 30% reduced healing, movement speed, and attack speed makes it difficult to follow the jungler, especially once they get speed buff. It makes it very difficult to box and trade effectively, so if the jungler tries to just turn and try and kill you, he probably has a really good chance of doing it. And this area is relatively large. You have to walk through it to basically get to speed or get to back harpies. So if you overcommit and realize, oh no, I actually need to get out of here, you have to go through all that area with that debuff that persists for a long time afterwards.
Интересно, надо посмотреть, как это выглядит в игре.
It's going to be pretty much a death sentence.
Надо посмотреть, как это
and just this will only be active at the very beginning of the match, like the first 1 minute right now. So this will go away. It's really just to make sure the jungler gets that clean start.
Yes, I know there's a lot of community frustration around the invade meta, in quotation marks, towards the end of last season, and we really just want to kind of discourage that very early support invading on speed. So hopefully these heavy-handed changes have an effect, and we'll see a deterrent from that.
Видимо, инвейдами на турнире на процерке типа жест. О, в поединке очень много изменений.
Increasing the max HP, adding some XP reward scaling there. Buff camps overall looks like they're getting a huge buff in base HP, along with the Phoenix and Titans. AJ, do you kind of want to
Очень много ХП добавляет, это еще замедляет игру на этом режиме?
Yeah, so we've been carefully watching Joust since the Season 7 launch, and we've been collecting a lot of feedback and a lot of data and looking for ways to tweak it.
Зачем они увеличивают количество здоровья? Ну, правда, XP больше
First of all, we're addressing a few artistic and thematic issues, so we're going to do some lighting and color adjustments on the map for people's, appreciation of the art. We're also going to be adjusting the actual size of the middle lane, making it a little wider.
Шире сделают центральную линию.
We also had an issue where minions were only increasing. So, a lot of our minions and jungle camps now have a feature where they scale up in their tankiness or their rewards. This was happening only every 3 minutes on Joust, so now it's going to be happening every 1 minute. That means their
каждую минуту теперь будут
so
становиться
there's a lot of other
монстры
changes here,
еще
but really these
танковее.
all come together towards a few key goals, which one of the main goals was we wanted to make it harder for people to take essentially the tower, the Phoenix, and the Titan all in one
Хотят, чтобы это
punch.
было сложнее забрать и Феникса, и Титана, и башню.
Health of the Titan and the Demon King. So that's going to make it harder to do all these objectives as well as the Phoenix. So Phoenix, Titan, and Demon King all getting a lot of increased HP.
Очень много им здоровья добавят.
Red buff, so that one's a contested buff.
Также на красном бафе добавить здоровье. Слишком было легко его забирать ранее.
Just completely steal it, even if your opponents were really close. We're going to have a little bit more people fighting over that one. But simultaneously, we're going to make actually the blue and the yellow a little bit easier to kill.
А синий и желтый сделают еще быстрее, чтобы можно было забирать, чтобы будет легче забирать.
Get back to lane in time. Then finally, the lane minions. There was a little bit of a XP curve strangeness going on in this new Joust, where in the late game, players' level would really stagnate, and their gold, though, would continue to move forward. So you would kind of get full builds, but you would only be like level 14 or something, and that felt really strange. So we're going to have lane minion increasing their XP.
Больше опыта будет теперь даваться на линии, потому что раньше получалось так, что у вас был полноценный билд, а левел был всего лишь 13-14. Так что теперь будет больше опыта.
And we're also adding an increased distance for shared XP on minions, because
Про
Joust is
поединок
relatively
говорят,
dangerous. Like if you're playing a squishy character and you get too close to the wave, the opponent's team is just going to 3-man wombo combo you and you just die. So a lot of people play it a little bit safer. They play a little further back from their wave than they do in other game modes. And that actually causes a lot of people to miss the experience from their own minion wave, even though they feel like they're standing right there. And that's really frustrating, and people don't understand why they're getting behind in Joust, and oftentimes this is the reason. So this is just going to be a big quality of life buff. This should help your team stay up in levels, even if they're playing safely.
Yeah, and if you're playing the aggressive team, if you're playing like that
where
you're trying to wombo combo, you actually have to play forward and actively zone them versus kind of just passively being around the wave. So it also kind of puts the onus on the team that's like trying to use that pressure to actually utilize it.
That's a very good point. There's a lot of different places where this change is going to feel better. You have that one mage who likes to run up too far and like clear the whole wave without you, and you like get nothing, and you're like, come on. Now that should happen less. Like, this is going to be, I think, a huge quality of life improvement.
Definitely, yep. Lots of the Joust map released with lots of great community reception. These should be some great quality of life changes. And if you're a Joust or duel player, continue to send us your feedback, because
они говорят, что в дуэлях это тоже, да, если вы игрок поединка или дуэли, ПТС, ребят, заходите на ПТС и оставляйте фидбэки. Я не ждал, что они ПТС запустят с таким коронавирусом. Теперь переходим к предметам.
We're going to increase the damage from 150 to 170.
Рука богов теперь наносит на 20 урона больше.
Yeah, so as a jungler, right, you had the experience where you got
теперь вы сможете на гарпиях сразу забирать их. Там как раз 20 хп им не хватало. Так что можно будет боковых вот этих гарпий первых же прям сразу.
To the sides live, and you're like, oh no, I actually have to spend a basic attack to hit them. That extra damage increase is going to help remove that.
Теперь не придется тратить лишнюю базовую атаку, вот он как раз про то же самое говорит.
You are using it to defend against invades, especially if like you're trying to do purple and maybe the enemy landers come to fight you. That little bit of extra damage will help you secure as well.
We were also looking at this specifically for the jungler. So if you have Assassin's Blessing, this damage is amplified.
Yep.
This number should now let you clear any buff camp or back harpy camp, or oh wait, not mid harpies. I'm sorry. I should have calculated this more closely. But the jungler here is going to get a bigger buff from this than non-junglers. So keep in mind that if you're playing this as a guardian,
говорят, что держите в уме то, что именно ассасины, убийцы со стартовым предметом благословением убийцы получат больше бонус с этого. Этот предмет работает лучше с убийцами. Смайт сервера упали, но больше народной трансляции сейчас зайдет.
Subsequent hits on the passive on the same target do 75% of the bonus damage for the next 3 seconds. That's a little bit of a nerf here.
So Heartseeker, we've been hearing
теперь на 25% меньше
quite a while now. We want to be careful. We don't want to overdo it. We're doing a lot of tight balance with junglers. As you can see, we just made a huge
второе использование способности по той же самой цели наносит только 75% бонусного урона за 3 секунды, а не 100%.
And get an additional damage proc on every single ability. That is pretty strong. So what we're doing here is you're going to just get a slight reduction in just the bonus damage from the item trigger if you hit the same target within 3 seconds. This is similar tech as we use on Soul Reaver, and this type of solution has been really successful in the past. We think it's going to work well on Heartseeker. Notice we did 75 instead of 50, so we are open to adjusting this number up and down even further, right, Pawn?
Yeah, exactly. Heartseeker's been one of the go-to items for a lot of the more aggressive junglers.
На всякий случай, ребят, напоминаю, что у нас еще подарок разыгрывают сегодня 3 подарочка от Латиноби, восклицательный знак, розыгрыш. Пишите для участия.
Situation where you're getting a whole bunch of extra procs, the damage is going to be reduced, hoping to bring it more in line with other options. And as you said, we'd be obviously willing to make adjustments to this number.
Много народу
feels good to
играет Smite.
All right, I know a lot of you have been on us for Heartseeker nerds,
зашли, почитали.
Thanks so much for the feedback.
Но мне не нравится, честно говоря, это обновление. Уже.
We are gonna decouple the CC immunity and the stun on the passive of this item.
О, теперь полсекунды происходит, почти полсекунды, 0,4 секунды происходит, идет вот этот стан. У него теперь есть каст тайм, раньше его не было. Раньше он моментально стан.
Благодарю за поддержку.
We've even had discussed actually cutting or removing the CC immunity or the stun from it. That felt a little too intense for us. What we want is have better counterplay and better reactivity. So when you're fighting against someone who has a mantle, you're not just going to get insta-stunned anymore when they hit this threshold. You're going to see them go CC immune. You're going to see some effects before the stun so that you can prepare to either pre-beads it or leap it or something like that so you can react to it. This is going to be mostly like a pro-level, high-level nerf. I think a lot of players who are still using Mantle, it'll still do a lot of the same things. It's still going to feel very good as like a one-off defensive item if you're ahead, but it's definitely going to have a little more counterplay and a little bit more window of opportunity to punish.
Yeah, you're going to be more reactive to, like, if someone's next to you and they have that, and you see that little bit of warm-up, you have the opportunity to try and leap away from it, or maybe pre-beads.
Есть теперь возможность, чтобы
использовать
битсы или выпрыгнуть из этого внушения от мантии.
You actually now are able to react to it.
All right. Well, last up for items, we've got Ring of Hecate. We're going to be decreasing the cost from 2,600 to 2,500.
Геката, кольцо Геката теперь стоит на 100 золота дешевле.
Off of any target.
So this item gets compared to Bancrofts a lot, especially in Mage ADC builds. We're trying to make it a better replacement for that item. I don't know if we can
теперь пассивно получает стаки с любой цели.
But we want Hecate to be able to provide you the stats you want, and one thing people were saying is that the passive was really just not very effective. Hitting an enemy god multiple times basic attacks. You're definitely doing that from time to time, but not super often, not super consistently. So now you're going to have that increased lifesteal pretty much all the time, because you can gain these stacks from anything. As long as you're in combat, as long as you've been fighting something, this item is going to provide a significant more amount of lifesteal than it did previously.
Yeah, for any mage who's trying to look for some sustain, Bancroft has always been the go-to, and then pair that with Demonic Grip. This should now be much more competitive in that slot because you can actually use it to sustain against jungle camps, maybe objectives, or you can start stacking up before the fight in the lane and then take that lifesteal into the fight with you.
I believe a fun fact in testing is you can even gain the stacks on towers.
Спасибо большое за поддержку.
Lifestealing from those towers. You can build the stacks so that when you get jumped, you will have that lifesteal ready to go at the time you're fighting gods. So I think that's really cool too.
Awesome. Ring of Hecate, a new item in Season 7, didn't get picked up a whole lot, so hopefully these buffs change that. That wraps it up for items, and we're going to move right along to gods.
Теперь переходим к богам, это все по предметам.
Арес. No escape. We're decreasing the self-slow from 50% to 30%.
Теперь замедление во время ультимативной только 30% скорости передвижения вместо 50%.
Juke maybe incoming abilities, pull people a further distance into his own enemy team, or into his own team. Just a lot more flexibility on the ultimate to make sure that it feels impactful when Ares uses it.
Ares has
had a hard time finding a true foothold in Conquest, specifically. He tends to be stronger in other game modes. What we want to do is give him a little bit more control, as you can see here. His ultimate is really good, you know. It really can be very good. But stronger players are pretty good at avoiding it or, you know, cleansing it. So what we have here is that this slow change is going to make Ares not such a sitting duck.
Там автобандает на эту фразу.
Even if you know you hit sometimes your Ares ult is just because you know you're going to burn some beads, and you're okay with that, right? And now you can do that and not also like sacrifice your entire hit point pool for it.
Definitely.
Спасибо, ребят.
Next up on the list, we got Discordia. We're making a change to Golden Apple of Discord, and we're increasing the projectile speed from 80 to 120.
Они увеличивают
so this
скорость.
Is interesting because we were looking at Persephone, we were looking at
Яблочко? Или я не услышал, почему-то не показано.
How they feel and how they compare against each other. In Discordia, there's a lot of community talking about Discordia in
1 апреля, у него денег нет, тебе забери у него топоры, пусть на мечах дерется.
Спасибо. And we just found a place that felt from all that feedback that felt underwhelming to her, which was Golden Apple Discord. Sometimes it was too difficult to confirm or hit on targets, especially if they could see it coming. And so, similar to Persephone, where that's a bit too easy to confirm, we're reducing the projectile speed. We're increasing the projectile speed here. And for reference on like what this kind of speed means, like I think Nox is 160. So that's the kind of speed range that we're looking at. We're going essentially in between what she currently is and in between Nox's speed.
I think this is going to feel really good for Discordia, and I like it that it doesn't actually increase her total damage potential at all. This is like a quality of life buff. It's definitely going to result in more ultimates making contact with enemies, which is going to result in dealing more damage, but it's not the same as just a true damage buff. And I think this one is mostly for feels reasons. Discordia is like a very tricky character for feels reasons. Like, I love to tell the story about me and Pompon testing her strife ability in playtesting, and we would like increase the range of that ability by like 5 units, and everyone in the playtest would be flipping tables. And then we would decrease it by 5 units, and everyone would be like, man, this god is weak. Like, she has some very tight timings and tight decisions to be made here. So I'm really excited to see that this sped up. I think this is going to feel a lot better. I think we were maybe a little too harsh on her and wanted to keep this slow due to her launch being strong. But now I think this is the right time, the right change to make.
Definitely. We'll have to talk about Discordia. We'll see who thinks she's still strong or who thinks she's still weak after these.
Честно говоря, очень долго не игралась.
Next up on the list, we've got Horus. Fracture, we are decreasing the cooldown on the ability, and to the skies, Horus is now going to be able to move faster while selecting a target.
Yeah, so Horus is more of a support warrior, but he often felt
теперь на 135% в воздухе быстрее ульту свою заводит.
Cooldown overall is going to help make him
проще было выбрать цель.
On CDR and be able to flex more into those tank opportunities and also set up
Fracture, я, честно говоря, не помню, какая у него способность.
На
2 секунды снизили.
Откат это
много.
Лардос,
спасибо за фоллоу.
Да,
Гора давно надо было апнуть.
Longer distance teleport onto like the Titan, for example. He can now do that more effectively.
So this to the skies
change. Передвижение в воздухе, это интересно.
I know we're going to increase this number. It's going to look really large, but we just want players out there to understand that diminishing returns on movement speed is a pretty intense factor in Smite. So although we're increasing this number to what looks like an absurd level, this is where we felt like this number is what made the ultimate actually feel considerably better. So it's not as big as it looks, but it is enough so that you can feel it, which is what we want. So this is going to make this ultimate, I mean, this is already a pretty crazy ultimate if you have the right level of coordination. Now Horus is going to be able to do even more crazy stuff with this. I'm really looking forward to it.
Гор теперь сможет делать сумасшедшие вещи со своей ультимативной...
to 135%, but what it actually translates it into is basically a basic attack and half 2 basic attacks range on his actual teleport distance. So he's getting further, but he's not going like triple the distance.
Right, 50 to 75 more.
3 раза, говорят, вы увеличили дистанцию
All right, it is time for the buff that everybody has been waiting for. Kuzenbo getting some love here. Water Bowl, we're going to increase the duration here from 10 seconds to 30 seconds. And my favorite change of the patch, Nene Kappa. Kuzenbo can now spawn multiple Nenes. And then last up for Kuzenbo.
Теперь можно нескольких... Это шутка. Не может быть такого. Он может теперь нескольких черепашек.
Kuzenbo is interesting. He's definitely someone that is... A lot of people like him for the meme factor, but we've seen him struggle a little bit to really succeed.
Теперь в троечке у тебя больше возможностей поворачиваться, больше легче контролировать.
So we want to make some changes that one give him more ability to do that, but also some changes that are going to affect his overall gameplay experience, where you throw a Nene Kappa, and then you get a whole bunch of shield spike returns, or shell spike returns, and then you get another Nene Kappa, and you watch your first one die. That was just kind of a bad feel, and so that was...
Я ему не верю!
Multiple Nenes. Say it with me, everybody.
Multiple Nenes.
Dude, it's gonna be...
It's happening.
Especially wait until you play him on some match of the day or something. It's gonna be a mess. But realistically speaking, Kuzenbo's a tricky character to balance. He is really in your face and can do a lot of difficult things to deal with. So we're trying to balance him and not amp up those specific factors. Mostly, specifically, damage reflect. We do not want to be buffing damage reflect. We've already nerfed Nemean. We understand that damage reflect can be really frustrating. We like having it in certain places, but we don't want to overbuff it. I think to me the biggest change is Water Bowl. Like, the way this ability is designed, it's kind of a stacking protective buff, and then it's only cleared when he is hit by certain types of CC, which is very thematic, right? Because it's tipping his water. It was really strange to me that this had such a short duration. That's why we were willing to make such a large... You should really have to knock the water out. I think it could be move this 30 seconds up even higher. But I think that passive is going to be the big change that lets Kuzenbo be a more effective tank or frontliner.
Спасибо большое за поддержку. 7200 топоров от неизвестного.
Or deal damage. That's going to make him a better frontliner.
Super excited to see these changes in game. Next up, we've got some buffs for our newest goddess to hit the battleground, Mulan. Spear Thrust is going to be seeing a speed up in the rollout of the hit area, and Divine Mastery. Mulan is now going to get increased protections by 30%.
На 30% во время ультимативной у нее выросла защита. И также в двоечке, я так понял, скорость и радиус ее копья увеличилась.
Difficult to, once you connected with someone, they could just turn and like crack in you, and you could potentially die. So I think people have kind of settled into their build path. And one thing about this change
UI, у тебя пробел лишний.
By 30%. So if you built Bruiser, you're more aware of the change than if you haven't.
Interesting thing with new gods, you know, we always try to take our time on balance adjustments.
Ну, Мулан правильно на самом деле то, что апает, потому что она сейчас вообще не играбельна практически.
Before we react to them. So
I
know there's some people out there who might be a little confused about Mulan buffs. Maybe they were expecting nerfs. You know, people tend to rate new gods as stronger than they actually are. We haven't seen her in really ranked or pro play yet, so we're not 100% sure. But we do know that from the player feedback, people were pretty frustrated about dying during Divine Mastery. And we wanted also to design that bonus protections in a way that encourages Mulan to build tanky up front. So if you're playing full jungle Mulan, that's great. That can be really good. But you're not going to get as much of a bonus from this protection as you would if you're playing Warrior Mulan. And that's exactly the way we intend it. So we think this is going to be really important. If she ends up overperforming in some of those high skill things in the future, we would be happy to nerf her in other ways. But I still think in the end of the day, we're going to be happy that we have this here.
All right, next up, we've got Ra. A god who hasn't seen a whole lot of love in a long time. Solar Blessing is now going to provide physical power and magical power to allied gods who are...
Да это троллинг!
This is a blast from the past.
Shoutouts to closed beta!
Yeah. Yeah, so Solar Blessing, for those that don't know, used to not only give power, but also take power from people who were in it. So this is kind of a partial version of that, where rather than just taking power, because that's really what the protections on it
в тройке теперь дает 20
we're giving some of that power back. So if you want to use this aggressively on sieging a tower or Phoenix, maybe on an objective, or you're just in the middle of a team fight, you're hitting your teammates and they are benefiting from this power. It's just increasing the overall utility that
I love this because it encourages you to use it in combat. You know, the Ra meta where he is just disengaging after every fight and healing up the team, and that's why he's meta, that is not, to me, the healthy spot for Ra. This encourages you to fight in it. This encourages you to use it for power plays, like Pawn mentioned, for towers and for jungle bosses. So we know there's a lot of people out there been talking about Ra. I'm really happy to see a buff on the list for him.
All right, and last up for gods in this balance section, we've got Scylla, and we're going to be making some changes to Crush. First of all, we fixed an issue where Crush would not apply protection reduction to slow immune targets, but the change that we're going to be making here is Scylla is now going to be able to explode Crush when she is CC'd.
Kind of a bug fix, but has a very important balance reaction to it. So this is something that from quality of life has been asking for a long time. We know there's probably a lot of people out there saying Scylla does not need a buff right now, but this one specifically is really frustrating, and even other gods like Isis, they already function in this way, so it feels strange. And we're definitely going to be continuing to look at other types of gods with a similar design here and make sure we give players the control that they expect, because a lot of times people are mashing this button, they don't understand why it's not working. It honestly, it felt like a bug to them, and so fixing this I think is going to reduce a lot of frustration from
То есть вы активировали троечку, и вы можете потом еще раз использовать, взорвать просто,
person kills you, and then you watch them just stand in it and then walk out of it, and you're like, I tried to detonate it, but it didn't work. It just doesn't feel right, especially when we have other characters in the game that do allow you to detonate it post like death or CC.
This should allow her to use this while dead as well, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would expect it to match Isis fully now.
That's what I would expect. I know we didn't have that written, but Clumsy was leading this one, so unfortunately we don't. So we will double check and confirm that. And Scylla players, get ready to be crushing people.
Oh yeah. That wraps it up for balance heading your way in the Witch of the Woods update, but we've got a ton of skins coming your way too. And we're going to kick things off with what's coming in Chapter 2 of the Grim Omens event. And we're going to start off with Acer Mulan. This is another Pantheon crossover skin for this show.
Yeah, it's also the first skin for Mulan, which is really exciting. Mulan is this legendary warrior that we were kind of adopting into the god pantheons of Smite. We really liked the idea of imagining how she might travel around and like learn the ways of the combat of the pantheon. So this here we kind of have her reinterpreted as if she's been training, Mulan herself training with the Norse gods and picked up their powers and their skills and their weaponry, and it just looks amazing.
They're really doubling down on the training arc passive theme here.
in the kit, in the visuals, and in the skins, she's got training arc. That is some meta commitment.
And I just love this card art and her skin. She looks just so strong in this pose. I'm really excited to play with this one. Right, next up on the list, we have got Rocky Road Hebo, and this is a sweet take on the super high damage dealer Jungle Mage. He's looking so awesome.
So you might remember
Лесной маг, как они называют его.
Pictured right there.
Пикайте его на мид, ребята. Пикайте его в лес, если играете за завоевание.
As Hebo throws sprinkles at his enemy, which became a really popular inside joke for the team as we were developing this game. It's the idea of just yelling sprinkles at each other and throwing them at each other. We just thought that was hilarious. So we had a good bit of fun designing this skin internally, just yelling sprinkles.
See, now I just want ice cream. Like, it's actually cold outside right now, and I just want to go out and get ice cream.
I know, right? I need some sweet treats. And you know what? Now that I think about it,
Тебе нравится?
Sprinkles hurt if they get thrown at you a lot.
Любители сладких скинов.
Hebo hurts, that's for sure.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. And this is going to be available in Chapter 2 of the Grim Omens event. And the next skin that's in Chapter 2 of the Grim Omens event is Syndicate Daji.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Синдикат Даджи.
So yeah, you've got a lot of.
Моя любимая богиня получает в последнее время очень много любви.
Mercenary, you know.
Моя Даджи прям мне нравится.
Мне нравится.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Loving
the пока арт вообще вот такой вот.
I got a chance to see this skin in game a little earlier.
Под киберпанк прям выходящий. Блин, огонь.
She's definitely got some
огонь, я хочу этот скин. Огонь вообще супер.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the Palo looks like.
Oh, the Palo is amazing. It's very tattoo inspired as well.
Блин.
Art on it.
Looks so good.
Не, ну это огонь вообще, ребята, это огонь.
During the Winter charity event, and I already want another one.
Какие у нее трепыхалы.
Inspiring me a little bit, so we'll see. Next up, we want to give you guys an exclusive sneak peek at the chapter reward for Chapter 2, and this one is super cute. It is Kitty Cafe Artemis.
Это только 5 мая, Артемис.
Yes, this one.
Это такой спойлер небольшой, ребята. Это 5 мая. Еще пока.
Сейчас. Mulan and Hebo and Dodgy go live, but you will be able to, you'll be earning this reward through getting those skins. This is a lot of additional stuff added to it.
Нет, Даджи прям
of the cat's riding,
уважение харизм.
That is her Tusky.
It
is so cute. Yes, those cats are on the cart, being like palling around and being cute and silly. And there's a whole lot of additional effort went into the effects and her traps and everything like that.
Ловушки просто, блин, попробуй.
Took a little bit of additional effort.
Боже ты мой!
What would it be like if Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, was running her own cat cafe? How would that work? And that is what we have here.
Не котят.
I have a feeling I know who we pushed for this idea.
Что это за хер?
You know, it came from a lot of places. I think Tina was definitely a champion of it. But it might have even been Alex who pitched it initially. But yes, this is awesome for sure.
Yeah, this definitely turned out great. I'd be super curious to just see kitties everywhere on the battleground.
Agreed.
Next up for skins, it's been a long time coming. Valkyrie Bride Thor.
Yes!
Finally!
The super long time community request is finally in the game. The Mad Lads finally did it.
Look at Loki's troll face. Look at Loki's troll face. Oh my god. This is amazing.
The frost giants in the back are like, how could we have been fooled?
For those of you who don't get it, this is a specific reference to Norse mythology. Thor's hammer gets taken by the ice giants, and the only way they will return it is if they marry Freya to the leader of the ice giants. And they don't want to do that, so instead Loki and Thor devise a plan to go undercover to the wedding, where Thor himself pretends to be Freya. And even in Norse mythology, they describe how poorly put together his disguise is. But the ice giants fall for it, and he is able to recover his hammer, and that is what you're seeing here.
Oh, this is so good.
This would be unlocked through the stretch goal of the viewer points system, so you'll need to earn viewer points to unlock it. You will not have to spend viewer points on this one. This one you will unlock in addition to all the other things you spend your points on. But this is we wanted to make sure we had some really big hype skin to be like an additional stretch goal for the viewer points and viewer system. So this is it. I know my community's been asking for it for literal years. And look how glorious it is.
Yeah, Thor is just rocking that dress.
Yeah, most definitely.
He's the god of thighs. If you
haven't already, be sure to link your Hi-Rez and Twitch or Mixer accounts. You could be earning points right now for watching the show. Head over to the Esports and Live Streams Hub in-game for info on how to unlock this skin. And the last skin that we've got up for you today is Shadow Speaker Hell.
Oh, this one's really cool.
It looks like we have expanded lore on this skin now. We have a light being.
Yeah, we kind of branched into it a little bit in Horus. We've been really digging this theme. You know, we started with Izanami, Opwatch, Bakasura. We branched a little bit into Fenrir, even into a little bit more of the chaotic wilderness of this possible universe. And then we were branching with the Horus a little bit into the lighter side. And now with Hell, having to convey both dark and light, we kind of have a really interesting take on the skin for these two opposite themes.
Definitely. This theme is one of my favorites, and I'm just super excited to just see another element added to it, the light side of things.
Certainly it has a little bit of anime inspiration, so I know you're digging it, Isaiah.
Oh yeah.
But of course you see a lot of high fantasy here, and also a little bit of like, you know, wilderness, jungle, nature themes too.
Не-не-не, все нормально, ребят.
Has been really, really good.
Мы все пережили.
But this one especially could easily be wallpaper.
Really nice, yeah.
So that wraps it up for all of the content headed your way on April 21st, but we've still got the main event of the show ready for you guys.
Это опять, да.
Baba-Yaga, Witch of the Woods' epic god reveal is coming up right now.
Баба-Яга. Бабулечка выходит на сцену. Благодарю за поддержку. Спасибо большое за поддержку. Кому-то. Кто ты? Спасибо. Не покидай.
Right, welcome back, everybody. Baba-Yaga, Witch of the Woods, is finally making her way onto the battleground, and I've still got AJ and Pond to break things down with me. All right, guys, before we get into it, Baba-Yaga, who is she, and how did she make her way onto
Всю статью, ребят, в паблике Smite.pro можно прочитать о Бабе-Яге.
Her stories kind of lead her to be this very chaotic character that
все руководство, все переведено, все четенько разложено.
Sometimes she's just gonna outright hurt you or eat you if you come to her cabin uninvited. But she never really interferes unless people come to see her first. And that's something we want to kind of bring into Smite as a whole, where she's this chaotic figure that brings kind of these random elements to the game, but she doesn't. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's in control of.
Отличное настроение.
This understanding of this grand plan that just other people don't have insight into.
And she's just a really interesting and unique character.
Я думаю, все славяне сейчас радуются.
Really excited to be bringing her. The community feedback was a huge part of getting Baba on the schedule, and now
Почему Баба? Просто Яга.
Look at how
Хайризлис, донеси до них, что надо Яга говорить, а не Баба.
Have her house. She's going to be riding in her mortar and her pestle. She's just got all of the iconic Baba.
Почему они ее Баба называют? Это же воин.
Yeah, definitely. Taking a look at her card art here, AJ
earlier
you said she's going to be ugly and gangly, and she is definitely that.
I hope everybody is happy. I mean, you know, we really want to make our players happy with each God's release. That is our goal. And I love how she turned out. She looks really cool and creepy and scary. And she's just kind of a little wacky too. And she's right on the line of creepy and wacky. And that's a difficult spot to go for. And I think our art team and design team was just on point, though.
And I love the mortar and pestle. Like, the mortar there, just like this kind of big thing that she's riding on top of. And the pestle.
На многих языках Баба, значит, воин.
Is like kind of like flat and rounded, so you can grind things with it, but then it's gonna turn into those like gnarly.
Baba-Yaga.
So cool.
Definitely. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to see her again, so I'm pretty sure we have that ready for you guys. Oh, and look at that.
Яголечко, Яголечко, вся в стопе.
It's definitely interesting. Should I just fire off a whole bunch of things?
Затолкаю, супу сварю.
Okay, let's go.
Понеслась магия. Кручу-верчу! Избашка, избашка! Охренеть, что это за жесть? Что это за жесть?
Oh my goodness. So there is definitely a lot going on. So let's go ahead and start things off with the passive. We couldn't have Baba-Yaga without her creeping cabin. So what's going on with that?
Илюда засветил ей приветики, если раньше не было так интересно. За поддержку. Спасибо.
You can see that it's kind of like roosting and getting ready to kind of go into the ground. And we wanted to let this be a persistent thing on the battlefield that kind of followed her around.
Спасибо большое.
It kind of creeps along the battlefield. You can see as I move away, it's going to start kind of moving towards me.
Маленькая.
He's got so much personality in a living house. You know, he's like pops up and is like, "Oh, don't leave me."
Это наш любимый хоккеист.
Is basically as it's running around the map, it's
Андрюх, ты что ли нас поддерживаешь? Спасибо большое.
So it's not just kind of idling around. You can see on the passive meter that purple bar there. If I were to get hurt, so real quick, hit me with. Normally, I don't actually get to talk while typing all this stuff. You get to do the click clack.
We're filming this from home because we're still doing that, and you know, thank you everyone for.
Они говорят, это из дома делают. Прикольно. О, спасибо.
You can see as I take damage that energy.
Избушка хилит Бабу-Ягу.
So it's basically like a mini fountain for Baba-Yaga herself.
Прикол.
But it's not just a fountain, so you can
it's
see
a
as
home
I kind of,
away from home.
Это дом вдалеке от дома, как они говорят.
You can see as it's running around, it's getting a little bit more energy. It has an extra component there that might.
Ой, хорошо делают.
So I'm gonna quickly back. Let's go buy, I don't know, maybe a warlock staff. That seems like that'd be good.
That seems fitting to her.
Yeah.
At least thematically.
So I'm gonna approach the cabin. It should be running towards me. Yep, there it is. And let's see what the energy does here.
Woo!
Stacks.
Oh my gosh.
6.
So the energy
энергия конвертируется бабулечки в стаки.
So stacking item. If you have a
Нифигуечки у бабулечки.
If you have a Karen's coin, this will actually convert that energy into stacks that item. The amount of energy it takes scales off the stack count, so you can't just get 10 stacks of Hide of the Urchin for free.
Right, the tougher ones.
Yeah, so you can see I'm getting pretty good stacks of Warlock Staff, but it would take nearly a full energy bar to get a stack of Karen's coin, for example.
Топ-стакер, да.
Right.
Yep. And so if you don't have any stacking items or you're hurt, it'll actually use a heal.
Сколько же бодиблоков она
So you can
сделает?
use this in multiple different ways.
Okay, so
Просто
Baba-Yaga
так,
is
да,
a
за
mage,
энергию
by the way.
пассивки вот этой.
And her passive is the Creeping Cabin, which has this really unique pet type of mechanics where you can't really control exactly where it runs. It also gets startled by enemies, right?
Yeah, so I can actually run it to these Odin bots.
And if you get near it when it's charged up, it'll try to give you item stacks, or if you don't have item stacks, it'll try to heal you. Does it do anything else?
So you can see when it gets near this Odin real quick, right? That little tether of purple energy. This is actually giving the cabin more and more energy. So if enemies are around,
Она за врагов получает больше энергии.
Warlock staff stacks. Because enemies are nearby, because it's shining essence from them.
Бабулечка,
So they get a little debuff and you gain stacks. But yeah, being near two gods for this long is like pretty uncommon in gameplay.
Yeah,
but
because
so you're getting a lot of stacks here. But
if you get too close, the cabin is.
Oh, there he goes. Oh no.
Yeah, it didn't like that I spawned something on top of it.
Yeah, I was a little confused with the spawn, but.
Прикольно, немножко рандомно, но пока
so
как-то мощно смотрится очень.
If this is getting in people's ways, or if they're draining essence, they want to get rid of it, they can just run to it, and the cabin gets startled and runs.
На книгу тоже,
so,
но любые стаки.
We're gonna go through her abilities next. You can see them across the bottom. Those are some temp icons. You'll see a few other temp assets in here. You know, we're working from home. These are all coming together greatly.
На Болхерона
действовать? A few things are going to be streaming in throughout PTS. So, yeah, let's see ability 1. It looks very interesting.
So, first ability is Wild Witchcraft. You can see that this targeter is different than maybe when I used it before. It's a kind of like a right L shape, and it has some kind of frosty effects. When I fire this, the projectile is going to travel that path. And you can see my passive meter is now changed to kind of a purple L with an X, and this is actually a silence. So projectile has a path, and it has a field it leaves behind, and they're both rolled randomly every single time you cast this ability.
Все рандомно происходит.
Right L silence.
A lot of L's.
Теперь это был silence.
Just like my
Это защита.
There you go. Now we have a different shape.
Yeah, it's a circle.
So now we have a circle.
Оно еще и меняет. Как оно выглядит?
This is one of the most unique random effects. Kind of Baba's personality, he kind of interpreted as chaotic, and that's where we translated that into these chaotic spells.
Я понял, это тот, кто у нас денежку зарабатывал в мае. Спасибо большое. В чате, да, те же люди. Ничего не меняется. Турниры проводят, все делаем. Спасибо большое, приятно. Спасибо. Что помнишь, заходишь. Она теперь быстрее двигается. Y и O. G обычная и зеркальная. Y и O. Вот Харри здесь подсказывает. 4 вида линий. Казино какое-то.
And you mess around with that shape a little bit, you get some extra range. And so learning these shapes is going to be a very interesting part of it.
I gotta say, in playtesting, that is like one of the most fun things to do with her. You're like aiming off to the side, and the opponent's like, oh, okay, no problem. And then it just takes a right turn at you. You gotta always be on your toes. And I love how Baba always knows what she's gonna cast. So she can always be prepared. But as an enemy, you never really know what she's gonna be throwing at you.
Что с качеством видео, это вот HD. Ну, бывает у них. Из дома же.
And speaking of randomness, let's go ahead and move
Бабулечка
into
сделала не говно,
Baba's Brew.
а ее.
So when
Ссылка к чему-то не ставил. Руны магические, древние.
And the ingredients that she throws in the potion are random. So you can see when I hit the button, I kind of brew this potion.
Они сказали, что это рандом, я злой гоблин.
Let's see, 2 Eyes of Newt,
это
2
двоечка.
Dragon Scales, and 1 Wolf Tooth, which is...
А это вот какие зелья? Один...
So you can see when I throw that potion, it goes out, explodes, and it's going to deal damage. For each red ingredient,
it's going
to increase the damage of it a little bit. For each Scale of Dragon, it's going to add a slow to it. And this slow
Каждый дракон дает тебе замедление.
Синенькое это урон.
А за каждый зуб волка зелененькую такую штучку это будет снижение атаки и еще. На полкаунта не надо тут портить. Нормально все.
So you can see I
Все,
brew
скачиваю
these potions
ПТС.
and I get these different ingredients.
Ломимся на ПТС, обвалим еще харезом и ПТС сервера.
Or deal more damage based off what I get.
Снижение силы и скорости, вот скорость атаки.
You can be like, hey, this potion is pretty good. I might want to save it for later. I don't really have a use for it right now. You right click or you cancel it or you refire the ability, and now it's in your consumable slot. And you can see here this is a temp icon.
Yes. Okay.
So again, we're working from home. We're trying to get all this in for PTS so you guys can play with it. Temp icon for now, but you can see I have this potion in my consumable slot. If I use it, it pops right back out, and I can use it again.
That is so cool. So she can pocket it and save it for later.
Она может запаковать баночку и использовать его позже. Только одну баночку можно.
In the future, you can pocket one, and then wait until your cooldown is up, and then throw the one from your pocket and throw the one you brewed back to back, which is a pretty strong power play.
То есть можно две сразу выкинуть, одну из инвентаря, одну. Что за много баночек на силу.
A lot of learning and a lot of practice. Like when you learn to not just quick throw, when you get one of those super slow potions.
Ну это круто, на самом деле. Механики огонь вообще. Мне очень нравится. Как она бабочек в стопе как подпрыгивает, а? Огонь!
So you can see, oop, cabin, hello.
He got his paths around a little randomly, which is also intentional too, right?
Yes, he has some random pathing, because when you walk around the map, it's going to follow you, so it might give some information to your opponents. It has some random elements there, and you can see it kind of triggered there, so that you don't always know where the cabin is kind of going and what direction it's heading towards. You can see, yep. So you can see now I have
Долго в ней придется разбираться, да не, интуитивно понятно на самом деле будет. Вы чё?
I'm going to use the other one that I had stored. I'm going to throw that one. And bring this one out through that
это
one.
не сложнее Хроноса, это уж точно. Но механик пока много, еще тройка.
Like, no, I have to save this for the team fight, right? You can pocket that one and save it for that team fight when it occurs.
Definitely.
Man, I just have the biggest smile on my face already.
For sure, yeah. I'm loving
Почему сделать обычного бога, как старый добрый?
Baba-Yaga always knows what's about to happen, but her enemies might not necessarily
know.
That's super cool.
Well, they can see her holding the potion, right? So you can get an idea of what type of potion she's got. If you see a whole bunch of red or a whole bunch of blue, you might know what to do around it.
Мне очень нравится.
And as it's traveling towards, you can see that the colors that are swirling around it are indicative of the ingredients that are inside of it.
Yeah, the projectile itself, that looks really good.
Блин, красиво смотрится. Анимации тут действительно очень крутые.
The potion itself right now is blue, and when I throw it, it's going to have a blue bit of explosion in it to signify that was a majority blue.
Антикея побили, ничего себе лютые какие.
So there's some definitely other tells that exist.
So there's like what, 4 potion colors, right?
Да,
one
добрались.
for each color, and then there's the split one.
Yeah, and so this one was a blue. I'm going to throw this one. See if I can brew a neutral one.
Yeah,
here's the neutral one, which has no majority ingredient.
Знаю, сегодня очень крутой. Пион, спасибо тебе еще раз огромное.
Colors in here, and when I throw it, has a bit of a more kind of colorful emissive.
Okay, nice.
Crazy. Well, this kit is really taking us into the stratosphere already, but we're gonna blast off even further, right, Pawn?
Let's do it.
Good segue. So the third ability is blast off. Baba-Yaga goes into her mortar for protection. So let's say you're in the middle of a team fight and you're about to get krakened. You can jump into the mortar for protection, and then while you're inside, Baba-Yaga builds up magic that explodes, sending her flying off in a direction, or damaging people that are nearby, right?
Yeah, this ability is so fun to use as kind of a risky damage ability where you kind of dive in with the warm-up and then turn and burst yourself out. It's a really unique movement ability. It gives her strong protective stats while she's inside of her mortar, but she still can be interrupted, right, Pawn, by stuns, silences, cripples.
Yes, she has knockback protection. Which is the only protection
she has.
So, yeah, so if I get stunned here, if I get crippled, or if I get silenced, it's going to end the effect. And I won't...
Ее можно отменить очень легко сайленсом, оглушением, ее только откинуть нельзя.
Has to be careful with how she's using this ability to make sure that she's not stunned out in a bad spot.
Right, the other day I was playtesting Baba and I got hit by Kali, and I tried to quick blast off, and Kali just stunned me out of it, and I was like, uh-oh. Bad timing. So you really have to be a little careful when you're going to fire this and be very aware of your matchups when you're playing Baba.
Really cool stuff going on. This ability also feels really good because you get a little bit of a boost when you first enter it because you're jumping into the mortar, and that helps you like maybe close the distance to get in range for damage or juke a little bit. So there's a lot of like small subtle things on this ability to help it feel really good to use as well.
It just fits her tone and her theme really well too, because you know, we talked a little bit of creepy and a little bit wacky. This ability is just straight fun.
Сильна, мощна, красиво.
For sure. And speaking of tone and her character as a whole, like I said earlier, you can't have Baba-Yaga without her home sweet home. So let's talk about the ultimate.
Модернизированная вступал. Bring the cabin more directly into the fight. Baba-Yaga calls down her cabin. It crashes down on her, knocking opponents away if they're too close. So we'll show that. So I call it down. Set flying back a little bit. And now I'm inside the cabin, and Baba-Yaga is in this cabin brewing up some witchfire magic. And this witchfire magic, when thrown, explodes on the target area that it hits, as well as it leaves a fire patch on the ground that creeps after enemies. So you can see here, I'm in here, I get 4 shots of this witchfire.
4 выстрела есть огня.
Explodes, and it also chases opponents down.
Оно еще и преследует врага.
So not only when it first fires is it going to deal some pretty impressive damage, but if you get people stuck in it, if they're CC'd, or if they just can't get away, they're going to take continual burning damage from this effect.
Now Baba is fully attackable and vulnerable while she's in the cabin. She just gets a little bit of a health shield there.
Небольшой щит ХП она получает
в
кабине.
But she's CC immune, but she can be entirely damaged. She can be killed in this state. So she has to be a little bit careful when she's playing with this ability, because if she just jumps into the enemy team,
у нее не так много сложных механиков. Можно было бы
you can see a little bit of there in the cabin jumping around a little on outro. We're definitely aware of that. Still working toward it for PTS, but this ability is a really cool mage ultimate. It lets you put out a lot of damage, but if your opponents are really aware of it, see it coming, they can avoid it pretty easily. But if you flank a fight and throw this into a pile of enemies and they are not paying attention, and they end up letting those stacks, those different witchfire deployables pile up on them, they start taking damage from all of them individually all at once. You can put out an absurd amount of damage really quickly if you place this and time this correctly.
Yeah, I think we worked out the damage to be something around, like, Anubis ult, if you were to be hit by every single one and stand in it for every single tick, you can take some serious damage. Of course,
что-то немножко похоже на ульту Анубиса. Очень больно будет, если вы встанете во всех.
You can't just spam fire it super fast. So it's unlikely that you're going to get all the damage out, but in the middle of a giant team fight where there's 5 people you could potentially hitting, you're putting out a lot of damage in that fight.
And just shout outs to the animation team. You can actually see Baba with like some kind of cartoony proportions, like reaching out of the windows and chimney and stuff to throw these fireballs at the front door. It is like, it's so fun. And we got a little bit of this feel for this ability in that amazing cinematic trailer we made before we started the Baba segment, right? How awesome was that?
Yeah, that cinematic was so cool. Yeah, we were watching like little pieces of it come in over time, and I was like, this is just going to be incredible.
Yeah, it was so awesome. So Baba-Yaga is our next mage hitting the battleground. Are you guys thinking she's going to stick to that traditional mid-roll, or do you think she's going to be able to flex anywhere else?
I think she definitely has potential to be a strong mid laner. I think there's some room for her to potentially be in the solo lane with the little sustain that she can get from her cabin, but I think other kind of bruiser mages do that better. So I just expect her to be more of the traditional mid-mage.
I would agree with that.
Cool, awesome. Well, we've covered all the abilities. Let's take a second and listen to Baba-Yaga's voice pack.
Oh, wondrous. You sure are. Something. Attack. Defend. Baba knows best, dearie. Disturbing Baba-Yaga while she is resting. Oh, not how I would choose to leave this world. But
tons of character
that
there.
taunt animation was amazing.
I was about to say, like, the character that she brings along with those voice lines. Oh, it's so good.
I really like how we got this kind of creepy old lady voice, but we got a little bit of that Slavic accent in there too, so you just get a good feel for her cultural background. It's awesome. Oh, and the recall, just the drop. As soon as that drop hits, it's like poof, and she's gone. Look at the mortar and pestle working itself. That's some classic witchcraft. The animation team did a great job on this character.
Yeah, there's a lot of like little flavor bits. Like I don't know if people were noticing earlier on where occasionally she'd reach out and grab this butterfly and just shove it into her mortar and start grinding it up.
Just mash it. Yeah. Oh yeah, we saw it a few times.
Даже во фразочке добавили
so of course, you know, when you're expecting it, you don't see it, but when you never know, it'll show up at any time. But we definitely saw it a few times, and I'm sure we'll see it again.
For sure. All right, and while we've got you here, Pon, let's take a look
Одной фразой всю эйфорию убили, да, есть такое.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have 2 different recolors. We have the one you can purchase with Favor,
О, зеленый рукавчик, зеленое платьице для бабулечки.
If I go to the cabin, which I kind of left behind, it's making its way.
Look at it run down the
Here
lane.
He's come.
Dude, there are sometimes in the middle of the jungle and like the middle of the fog, you just don't see it, and all of a sudden like it appears through the fog. It's genuinely creepy and
Yeah.
Smite Pro есть, кстати.
And there's some more green highlights on it. Okay, so the cabin changes colors too.
Бабулечка, ты по-английски умеешь, ты по-всячески умеешь, бабулечка. По-франчески, какие римовичи, всякичи, вятичи, вязичи, бабулечка по-всякому умеет сибиряка, по-сибирски умеет. Не надо тут. Так а почему бабулечку бабой называют? Молодые, не понимают ничего.
О,
Грэндма, да.
And these are going to launch with Baba-Yaga. I know we started that trend. I know players really appreciate it.
О, у бабулечки какое платье шикозное, золотистое, синеватое. А изба, посмотрите, какая избулечка. О, Кощею греха показал.
Golden and blue. Now, you know, people were talking about it, but I don't know if anyone quite figured it out about the teaser spoiler we did with Baba-Yaga. Well, now that you see her using all these potions, maybe they get it, but actually it was a really rare chance to trigger her laugh when you drank a potion.
Yes.
A lot of people thought it was different maps or stuff like that. I don't know if anyone actually connected it. It has to do with drinking a potion.
Yeah, I don't think anyone connected the dots. That was a really fun teaser, and I know people were like, I hear Baba-Yaga randomly in game. I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm getting freaked out.
Yeah.
I also love the coloration on the mortar and pestle.
Две избы, да,
Black and gold. Legendaries are always my favorite. Black and gold is such a classic color combo.
Even on the gods that have diamond, I tend to use these legendaries.
Yeah.
But, oh, the diamond looks really cool for her.
Nice.
Бабулечка черная, золотом больше к лицу.
She's got a house made out of diamonds.
Right?
Спасибо за фоллоу.
She's rich, huh?
So cool. And I mean, we could spend a lot of time just
пропустила
looking at this
смысл ее избы, там очень много механик. Отмотай трансляцию. Отмотай трансляцию, там можно все посмотреть. Бабулечка скоро по-хорезовски заговорит.
There's just so much on this cabin.
Yeah,
it's living, breathing character, really.
Yeah, it's literally breathing.
It is so cool. Yeah, our entire concept team and art team really killed it with this cabin, making it feel, you know, like it has its own personality in game and like it's fighting alongside.
Избушка, бабулечка довольна, избушка своя.
Yeah, so Baba-Yaga, I'm sure people are going to be stoked to play her on PTS when it goes up on Friday, right, Isaiah?
Yep, we are shooting for PTS to be live on Friday. Be sure to keep it
Бабулечка
locked on
в
our official
пятницу
social
на
media
ПТС
channels.
уже
Be
будет
sure to let you guys know when
доступно.
it goes up. We're definitely looking forward to seeing you guys get your hands on the Witch of the Woods. But the show's not over yet. We've got a live Q&A that is headed your way. Thanks so much for tuning in for the Baba-Yaga reveal. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Бахло.
Mods and modesses, get ready for your favorite Smite show. No, not top 5 plays. It's time for Hey Zeus.
And hey to you, everybody. We've got a great show for you today. Ladies and gentlemen,
Что-то
please
бабулечки
give a warm
покажут, что
welcome
это
to
шоу
Baba-Yaga,
Зевса.
Witch of the Woods. Oh, Baba, do we not pay Raijin for electric this month?
Hello, dear. Would you like some
И готов, пойду в Warzone, пока выходной еще решил всем.
Благодарю
Обнимашки. Спасибо большое, привет.
Пойду в Warzone, пока выходной, еще навещу равно. Всем
Спасибо.
обнимашки.
Спасибо, что навестил.
Мы
тебя тоже обнимаем.
Oh, Baron, of course not. Why, you have any spare?
Spare? I guess there's a couple I can think of. He stopped calling after his remodel.
Maybe we can come up with some sort of arrangement.
How about you take my last one? Persephone! She's been causing a lot of trouble lately.
Could I get the pomegranate on the side?
Hold on there. Would that make me Papa Yaga?
No, it just
Papa
makes you
Yaga.
a father.
I've invited an evil force to my show. How could I be so foolish? The gods have abandoned me. Now there's no hope. Anywho, how does it feel to be on the battleground of the gods?
Oh dear.
Шоу с вечернего Урганта слезали. Это вечерний Ургант тоже слезал с кого-то, если не знал.
We are animated, so I don't know how to respond.
I'm only here because I need space to park this fucking house.
Oh, that's yours?
Whoa.
I thought we just got you a nice trailer.
Well, my reveal trailer was pretty good. The house, though, garbage.
Your house moves by itself? Talk about a mobile home. Oh.
Shut up. Actually, dear, my legs suffer from something called bony syndrome.
BS.
And with my fucking garbage house, I had to find a new way to get around.
So you,
Это сложно будет так вот быстро все
Sounds like me
перевести.
driving in LA.
Сейчас.
Actually, it's a mortar. It's
Я
where
уже
I
подустал.
brew my potions.
Hey, kids at home, don't brew and bribe?
Oh, Baron.
Sorry, is there a cat here?
What?
Because there's no purring
Она
around
сидит как
here.
Билли Айриш на
I have a
вечернем
question
Ургане.
for you.
Hey, that's
Прикол.
my job.
Would you mind house sitting for a while?
Yes? He says hesitantly.
House! I beckon you! Get over here!
Wow, talk about a full house. Coming up next, we've got Hades with his tips for getting sun in an eternally dark
Прикольно
world.
сделали шоу.
Stay tuned and we'll be right back. So,
Следующий придет Аид.
Paula, is you?
Не, молодцы, что так сделали. Это было очень прикольно. Надо только переводить это.
What's going on, everybody? I hope you guys enjoyed the update show. Tons of stuff going on, and those Jesus episodes, man, they crack me up every time.
Ну, теперь, в общем, можно зайти на... Кто знает хоть чуть-чуть английский, я так понял, что будут вопросы-ответы, и зайти непосредственно на трансляцию Smite Game и там пообщаться. Задать какие-то вопросы, не знаю, услышат, не услышат. Я думаю, что услышат. Вот. На этом мы заканчиваем наш перевод. Ух ты ж, народу как много. 153 человека, офигеть. Давайте зарейдим Smite Game. Кто захочет, останется. Вот. А вот в Инстаграме подсказывает Харизлис. Завтра ответить сторис некоторые. Вот. Погнали, зарейдим. Не забывайте хэштег спамить. А, стоп. Отмена рейд. Розыгрыш. 3 подарка, я же обещал. 3 подарочка, ребят. Так, первый. General PNF. Так, надеюсь, ты тут. General. Мазер. Мазер мы найдем. И третий человек Кочуновка. Так, Вотинубу надо будет отписать, ребят. Вотинуб разошлет вам все подарочки. Только, ребят, учитывайте, что не так быстро. Так, напишите, вот я по хэштегу написал. Все. Теперь точно все. Вот это тут. Чекнем на всякий случай. Так, остальных-то я найду, а вот Дженерала я не найду. Все. В ЛС отпишите. Да, ребят, отпишите в ЛС, пожалуйста, вот Тинобу. На этом трансляцию заканчиваем. Опять не выиграл. Ну, народу много участвовало сегодня, было дофига народу. У нас давно не было на трансляциях 170 человек. Такого давно не было. Спасибо, ребята, огромное за то, что пришли, за то, что поддержали. По пьяну, конечно, отдельная благодарность. Меня мало сейчас поддерживают. Поэтому я очень благодарен за поддержку. Спасибо, ребят. Все.